Hey, what's up? It's Carlos at Let's Talk. So this week's big fight was Kiko Martinez versus Josh Warrington. So overall, it was a great fight. First and foremost, this week's subscriber shout out will be to Matt Houston. What's up, Matt? Thank you for the subscription. If you want to get a shout out, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down in my watermark. All right, now let's get into these fights. Okay, so Maxie Hughes versus Ryan Welsh. Mm, it was a very technical fight. It was technically sound. Not too much excitement. Some little bit of some foreheads banging around and stuff like that. Caused some cuts. A lot of complaining. You know, boxers they complain. They complain. You know that normal stuff. So a lot of that today. But overall, Maxie Hughes showed he's a very good technical fighter. Throws a lot of punches. Doesn't really move around a lot. He is British, so you know they just don't move around a lot. They have good footwork when they want to, but they're pretty much, in my opinion, strictly opinion, they're like Rock'em Sock'em robots in the middle of the ring or up against the ropes, right? So at the end of the day, Ryan Welsh, he attempted to put up a good fight. Uh, he had a real short reach, which really made it hard for him to do any real damage. He landed some good shots, but ultimately Hughes outclassed him strictly from the perspective of arm length, and he was just faster and better. Then we had Maria Roman out of Argentina versus Ebony Bridges out of Australia. Now, for those of you that follow boxing, Ebony Bridges, the blonde bomber, she calls herself, um, super into the flamboyancy of the sport. She's the fighter. You'll see her. She'll show up to her weigh-in in a thong and a bikini top just to show off in front of her opponent. Gets her a lot of attention, but she can throw hands. She's a very good fighter. She's very strong. Now, don't get it twisted. Maria Roman out of Argentina was a solid fighter herself. She threw a lot of shots, but she didn't really start fighting until about the seventh round out of 10. So you don't win a fight when you start winning at the last three rounds. You got to fight from the first round to the last round, whether it's 10, 5, 7, 12, doesn't matter, right? You got to continue. You got to throw from the opening bell to the last bell. She didn't, but she landed some great shots. In the end, Bridges ended up winning the belt for their weight class. She showed that she's just not a pretty face, that she can actually fight to go along with it. I'm not quite. I'm not on the bandwagon yet. I think she's a good fighter, but I don't think she has what it takes to really go pound for pound with any of the American fighters um, here in the U.S. or even the Mexican fighters. Just because she's not there yet. Maybe a couple more fights. I'll have a change of heart. We'll see. Uh, Ray Moylette versus Dalton Smith. Yeah, like that. We're not even gonna talk about it no more. All right, moving on. Sky Nicholson versus. Well, let's go back to actually the Dalton Smith Ray Moylette fight. Actually, Smith won the fight. He was clearly a better fighter. He really he was more technical. His technical skill was better. He was throwing more punches. He did everything he was supposed to. Only thing was, he wouldn't have won the fight except for the fact that he had two nut punches. The first one, I'm not gonna say it was intentional, but it sure as hell looked like it. The second one, well, he threw an uppercut from around his waist, and so the trajectory of his punch put dude square on the mat. He ended up losing 2 points for that because the ref had had enough of his shenanigans. You can't hit a man twice in the nuts and then think you're not going to lose points. He got a verbal warning. He got told one more, and it's over. That's it. It's done. And then he threw a third one that was maybe a millimeter above the waist. Got a good complaint out of Connolly, Moylet. And then they were like, hey, that's enough. And pretty much what the ref told him was like, dude, you're going to win the fight. Stop hitting below the waist. Finish the match and take your win. Don't lose because of something stupid. And even his coach told him, he's like, you're about to lose the match because you can't hit above the waist. That it would be a waste of like 9 rounds, right? So he ends up winning. But still, outside of those 2 nut shots, I mean, it was pretty much nap time for me. Then we'll get into the Beck Connolly fight versus Sky Nicholson. Oh my gosh, another sleeper. So Beck Connolly's former British military. I don't know if she realized that she needed to throw punches that are supposed to land. Because if she was fighting Casper, she would have done great. But she was fighting a human, and her punches were, I don't know, maybe this far from the other person's head. And Sky Nicholson, she didn't like have a normal fighting stance. Like, you know, your normal fighting stance is your body's kind of canted either right or left, depending on whether you're orthodox or not, or southpaw. She was completely sideways. I'm talking about like sideways, not canted. And she didn't even bother to get into a guard. She just threw like 25 jabs, maybe. And then sporadically she would throw a combination. It was bad. No. It was bad. It was bad. But in the end, she won. She won because she threw more jabs and she landed more punches. At the end of the day, it was another sleeper. Granted, Nicholson's that was her second fight. So I guess I got to take that into consideration. But jeez. Hopefully she gets better. Now on to the main card. Kiko Martinez versus Josh Warrington. Warrington came out and was like, dude, I've had it with your shit. I'm gonna whoop your ass. Dropped him hard in the first round and just stayed on him. And Martinez threw some great combos. He landed some big shots. Complained that he got headbutted. Complained a lot that he got headbutted. He's another complainer. Martinez is coming out of Spain. They say he's the best Spanish fighter in their history, which I thought he was pretty strong. I thought he was pretty fast. But pretty much he allows himself. He opens up every time he throws a punch, and he got countered endlessly. But dude's built like a tank, though. I'll give you that. I wouldn't want to see him in the ring or in real life. But ultimately, Josh Warrington just wore him out. Just went to war, and he was hitting him, and he was banging on him. And 7 rounds, ref said that's enough. Because by the 7th round, Martinez was just on the ropes, and he wasn't even attempting to shoot back. He was just taking all the blows and blocking, and he was done. So ref called it. He was like, "That's it. It's over." So that wasn't too bad, though. It was exciting for the first 3 rounds, and then it was like, "Come on, man, fight back, fight back." He didn't. He tried, and he threw a lot of good punches out there, sporadically, but not enough to really make it not a one-sided event. I'm not bad. What I'm about to say is not me bashing any of these fighters or their skill in the ring, because they're all pros, and they're either trying to make a name for themselves or they've made a name for themselves. But the music selection for ring walks was bad. Just bad. We had Madonna, and we had some classic rock songs. Sweet Caroline came on. I'm like, as a spectator of the sport, It's hard for me to get pumped up for a match if you walking into Sweet Caroline or a Madonna song. I just can't. I can't do it. I need, play some rock, play some hip hop, play something that's going to get my adrenaline going because I want to see a fight. And if you come in with some soft music, I'm kind of expecting you to go through the motions and not to really give me an exciting fight. Now, don't get me wrong. I've seen other fighters that came in with very calming music and they put on a great fight, but today was not it. I don't know if it's something that's done in Europe and that's their thing, and that's cool, I guess. But to me, it just was not getting me pumped up. So, subscribe, hit the like button, hit the dislike button, comment. Tell me what you think if you saw the fights. If you didn't see the fights and you pull them up on YouTube, that's cool too. Still, tell me what you think. As always, this is Carlos at Let's Talk. Talk to me, I'll talk back.